Oh, I'm muted. Alrighty, sweet. So what I'm gonna do? I hate when I'm muted. All right, but anyways, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. So, if you guys haven't noticed, it's been about 7 days since I made a video. So, for this channel, it's pretty rare that I go 7 days without making a video, but I'm sure most of you out there kind of know why. Me and my wife, we did have our second child come into this world. So, yeah, that's why I haven't been making videos. And if any of you guys have ever had a child and you've been in the hospital and you've had to deal with that whole craziness, it's it's a pretty intense, pretty wild experience, and you get no rest. You are absolutely exhausted. There's people coming in and out of the rooms a million times a second, so I was just exhausted. But we're home. We're all settled in. The baby's home. Everything's good. The baby's healthy. He came in at a whopping 9 pounds, 8 ounces. So that was a pretty big baby. But yeah, everything's good. So that's why I haven't been making videos. But on a brighter note, well, that is a bright note. But on a brighter note for the channel, saying I haven't been making videos, I'm going to be on PTO the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to try some like midday live streams because my oldest son goes to daycare. And my second son, obviously, is just a baby, so he sleeps for most of the day. So I'm going to try, like, a Monday or Tuesday or a Wednesday, like, midday stream. I'm talking, like, 10, 11 a.m. Something very, very rare for my channel to ever do. And I think maybe this will give me an opportunity to reach out to some of the people who maybe are only ever able to watch these lives after the fact because they either, the times that I go live are usually 9 p.m. Eastern, might not work for a lot of people's schedules, but maybe it will work for this one time. So I'm going to try that. But anyways, guys, to the topic of this video, and, one, I haven't got a chance to watch any content lately because usually I watch all my content at work. I have my headphones in and I'm listening, but I still am able to go on my YouTube subscription page and look at all the videos that people were making. And a lot of videos that I saw were like people talking about that ring 1-of-1 card for Magic the Gathering. And, but it got me thinking like about other stuff too. And then, I'm seeing some other like little titles. But I think right now the title or the topic I want to talk about most is just Lost Origins. Because right now we are going into a Lost Origin reprint. And I will tell you right now, I'm always nervous about reprints. And the reason why I say I'm nervous about reprints is because I'm never really never 100% sure of how big is that reprint going to be. How strong is the market going to be? Is the market going to be able to absorb all this product? But I'll tell you right now, recently, in the very near term, like reprints have been very, very easy to, one, time, and number two, even if you kind of miss the timing, as soon as you get news of a reprint, you're able to very quickly liquidate your like positions into this market. And it kind of works to that greater fool theory. The greater fool theory is saying that there's always somebody out there who is willing to pay more than you, right? And with Lost Origin right now today, if you did have like a decent sized position, there's still enough liquidity in this market where you could exit out of that position. Now, when I say exit out of a position of Lost Origin, this is not a permanent thing. And people will hear that. They'll be like, oh, PK is saying to liquidate everything. Well, yeah, liquidate it for the short term. Liquidate it now, today, when prices are at the highest they're going to be in the very near term. And I'm already looking on like TCG Player, and you could look at the dips. You could actually see in the dips where people like maybe not fire sold to the bottom, but like there was a while where those booster boxes were selling for like 168, and then somebody real quickly undercut the market and sold a bunch of them between like 160 and 162, and then there was a little price increase again because all that market got bought up, and then obviously now the prices are starting to drop pretty drastically and they're down to like 150. But I'll tell you right now, all that took place like within the knowledge of reprints. And now this comes to like Pokemon investing and like, acquiring positions. If you're acquiring positions, it's what's your plan for them? Are you in it for the long term? I can say you could liquidate now and still be in it for the long term, because if you sell at these highs, in my opinion, prices are going to go down for Lost Origins in the very near term. So whatever you sell at, if you were able to sell at that 168 or that 160, and booster box prices do retrace a little bit. And again, this is large positions. If you have one booster box, if you have two booster boxes, it's probably not worth it for you. But if you're, Josh the green shiz, and I think he bought like, God, I forget how many booster box like cases he bought, but I want to say it was like 6 or 10. So if you got 10 cases of Lost Origin, because that's a decent position, and you're Josh, that means you got 60 booster boxes worth of Lost Origins. Yeah, then when you can start to sell these and make $20 per booster box or $30 per booster box in theory, then it's worth it, At 60 times $30, that's a, pretty nice gain for you right there. So, but now this goes in, so you liquidate that position, and as soon as prices retrace, I don't know how far they're going to go. Right now I'm hearing people are picking up at distribution for like 120. If that's all people could pick up, we might not see prices drop below that. But if you do have those monster guys, your P Football Pete's, and he has those like really good sweetheart deals with his distributor, and he's getting these booster boxes at that $95, $98 mark, and he's able to undercut the entire market, then you just buy back in. You have your perfect buying opportunity. This is not a long-term like, oh, I made my money, I sell out, and then I'm out forever. No, you sell, and then when the market goes down to wherever it goes, and again, I don't know where it's going to go, then you just buy back. And it's the same thing happened with Evolving Skies. That's what I did with Evolving Skies twice. One, where the market did the initial drop, I sold out of my Evolving Skies, and then I repurchased back. And then, like, that's what you just got to do. Sometimes you make your money when you have it, but if you're invested in this stuff, and especially if you're invested in the long term, it's okay to take some money like here and there. Because especially if you're dumping all that money right back into the market or right back into more Lost Origin product, let's say you're making $20 to $30 a booster box and you have 10 of them. There you go. You just like when you go in and you buy back, you just keep all that money right into Lost Origins. Now your position is bigger than it was. But this, I think this brings up that weird dynamic where it's the thing that I'm most worried about all the time. And my fear is that people just are always buying, but I truly believe that there is a subset of people out there who are buying, but when a beautiful opportunity like this Lost Origin reprint is happening, because we are getting ready for it. Prices haven't drastically retraced, and now this is the big caveat with Lost Origin. It's still available on PokemonCenter.com, and I've talked about this before. As long as product's available on PokemonCenter.com, that's going to be a barrier for a lot of people. But I always laugh, how many people are readily selling on eBay, but don't sell on TCG Player? They're afraid to even do any sort of platform arbitrage when it comes to selling because they get very stuck in their ways. And when you get a great opportunity like this, because I will tell you right now, that guy who, when the market was selling at 168 and on May or whatever it was, I forget when he sold it, but whatever day he sold it, and you saw that price retrace to 162, and then it retraced then it bounced right back. That guy that undercut the market at 162, you look at where those booster boxes are today, they're at 152. So that guy who, even though he was undercutting the market at the time, still made $10 more a booster box than if he were held on to that same booster box today. So this is the thing. When you get this deep down the rabbit hole and you are this actively engaged in this hobby, you're living in the day-to-day. So might as well take advantage of the day-to-day sometimes. Now, let's just say, what's the worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is you sell your booster boxes at current market rate, which is 140, 150, and prices never retrace below 140, 150. And even after the reprint, prices are still where you sold them at. The absolute worst case scenario is you're probably going to lose out on $100 to acquire all your positions back. And you're going to probably do a lot of work shipping out those booster boxes and doing labels and packing stuff. And it's going to suck. But when your worst case scenario is more or less breaking even, it's not bad. It's not bad. So, but then it goes back to ask yourself, what are you doing? Especially if you're buying modern product. And if you're doing modern product as investments, or you're trying to do it for either the short or the long term. I think this is still a long-term play. Lost Origin booster box is, in my opinion, a long-term play. But in the very short window, they're a sell right now. And now, in the future, do I see Lost Origins getting another reprint? Personally, no. I don't. The same way as I don't see Brilliant Stars getting another reprint, I think that small, I guess it was a reprint, that very small wave of Brilliant Stars we saw is the last reprint of Brilliant Stars. I think that this reprint of Lost Origins, which is going to be relatively substantial, meaning people are going to be able to not just get like 1 or 2 cases, they're actually going to be able to get a few cases. So if this reprint of Lost Origins is like a decent size, I think this is the last reprint of Lost Origin. Again, we are moving out of Sword and Shield. I think the next set that is most likely on the reprint window is probably Silver Tempest. So is Astral Radiance on the reprint window? Maybe. Do we need an Astral Radiance reprint? That is the question. The answer is no to that. And I think Pokemon does know that. Astral Radiance is not needed. Silver Tempest is probably. So probably going to go with the Silver Tempest and not... Have I been saying Lost Origin? Sometimes I get all these names confused in my head. But yeah, Silver Tempest is probably next right now. And then after Silver Tempest gets reprinted, we'll probably see like another Crown Zenith reprint. And then after Crown Zenith gets reprinted, we eventually will move out of the Sword and Shield reprint window. We're still in it right now. But, you know, you look at something like Brilliant Stars. If you do believe in Pokemon, if you do believe in modern product, and you do believe in sealed product, you look at something like Brilliant Stars on PokemonCenter.com, even at 143. Now, you would have missed a ton of buying opportunities before then. But even if you look at like that 143 on Pokemon Center, and if you are going to start acquiring positions of Brilliant Stars, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to shop around. There are prices lower than PokemonCenter.com. I'm going to tell you that right now. Shop around. Find those cheapest prices. There are a lot of people. Follow Pokemon TCG drops. People like this, you know. Pokemon TCG drops just the other day. And when I say the other day, I'm talking within like a 2-3 week window. There was Brilliant Stars booster boxes for like 116 or 118 he posted. So you could definitely find them for a lot cheaper than that 143. But that is a nice product if you want to just pick up a case here or there, throw it in the closet, because I think we are running out of that reprint window. Now, just because I think we're running out of that reprint window, does that mean we are definitely out of that reprint window? And the answer is definitely no to that. We could always, you know, Pokemon always has the ability to go back and reprint whatever they want. And one of the things I saw too is, again, you know, shout out to Pokemon TCG drops on Twitter. He was posting a lot of restocks that were happening on PokemonCenter.com. Like, so this is going yesterday. I want to say yesterday or the day before. We had and they were small restocks. It was definitely like Pokemon found some old pallets in the back or whatever. But some of the products we saw get reposted were Unified Minds, single pack and 3-pack blisters, Evolutions ETBs. Yes, Evolutions ETBs. There was Team Up Build and Battle boxes and Unbroken Bond Build and Battle boxes. Now, again, these are not reprints of any of those sets. Those are just restocks that PokemonCenter.com had. And again, it's probably just old product. They were clearing out warehouses and they went, oh crap, somebody stuck a pallet of Team Up Build and Battle boxes over here. Well, somebody throw them online and let's liquidate these real quick. So that is not a reprint. That is just a restock. But, you know, put on your notifications on Twitter and just have Pokemon TCG drops for notifications. He's literally the only notification I get from Twitter. So have those on. And when he posts it, click on it. Look at it. Say, is this something I want or is this not? Now, don't get me wrong. When you get a restock of Team Up Build and Battle boxes or Unified Minds 3-pack blisters, or so, and there was a couple like random GX boxes that got restocked too. I'm going to tell you something right now, and this is not a secret. Those restocks are going to be, 1, botted like freaking crazy, and number 2, everybody and their mother is going to be trying to pick those up, because if you could pick up a Team Up Build and Battle box for $19.99, there's so much margin just instantly into a product like that, especially it had like a limit of 5. And I did see there were a couple people that had confirmed purchases of Team Up Build and Battle boxes on PokemonCenter.com yesterday. Yes, yesterday. We are living in June of 2023 at the time of recording this video, and people were able to pick up a couple Team Up Build and Battle boxes from Pokemon Center. So again, these are restocks, not reprints, but it goes back to like that saying, just sometimes you got to be in the right place at the right time. And that's a lot of Pokemon, to be honest with you. A lot of Pokemon is being in the right place at the right time. And you could take the phrase being in the right place at the right time, and sure, you can do the very microcosm, which is a random PokemonCenter.com restock of a single product. Sure, that is a small microcosm. But as you start pulling yourself back and you say right place, right time, you look at a lot of like modern promos. Right place at the right time. All you had to do was be in the Pokemon market in 2022, and guess what? You're able to be in the market at the time of special delivery Charizards. Right place at the right time. Pull yourself back a little bit before that. You were lucky enough to get an email, special delivery Bidoof. You put in that email. You happen to be looking at your email at the right time, at the right place. You said, yes, I would be interested in this promo. And that Pokemon sent you a promo code, and you instantly sold that thing for $600. Pull yourself back a little bit further. Special delivery Pikachu, November 2020, which, again, special delivery Pikachu, I always laugh because it is the most ironic thing in the world, because November 2020, we are in the height of Pokemon, the craziness. This is, the Logan Paul booster box break was October 2020. Coming into November, there was a ton of hype. The funniest thing is people just didn't know how to navigate something as simple as PokemonCenter.com. That special delivery Pikachu, all you had to do was buy $20 worth of product, and it was instantly added to your cart. You didn't have to do anything. You could buy t-shirts, you could buy water bottles, you could buy posters, you could buy a ton of shit that was on PokemonCenter.com, and people did that until their fingertips bled on their keyboards. But it was just right place at the right time for some people. And then you pull yourself back a little bit before that, and you look at a thing like Scream promos, right place at the right time. You keep pulling yourself back a little bit, before that, go to 2016. You're actively engaged in Pokemon, and you got Mario and Luigi Pikachu boxes and all these Poncho Pikachu boxes, and that just brings you back to 2016, right place at the right time. You look at a product, you go, you know what? This is a good product. We're living in it right now. I'm telling you right now, all this Chinese product, yes, you know me. I have made it no secret at this point. I have been acquiring positions in Chinese product. You don't fucking believe me? Fine. I don't care. You look at something like the Lily collection box from China right now. Look at what that thing has done. Look who's laughing. This guy. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Look at what those things are selling at in PSA 10s. I knew it. I knew it. I called it. I made a whole video talking about Chinese product. It's there. The market's there. There's all these GXs right now. All these EXs right now. They're there. They're there. They're just the modern. It's there. It's there. It's a market ready to be taken. And guess what? All this shit is eventually going to go up. All these tag team promos and shit. Everybody's going on, English, Japanese, or English tag team promos, Japanese tag team promos. Look at all these freaking Chinese tag team promos. Guess what? All those things are going to go up. I'm just telling you right now. It is a market. It's the right place at the right time. There's going to be a lot of people who will hear this, will do nothing. I'll tell you right now, you're missing out. Chinese market is here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's sustainable. Fuck if I know. I'm here for the short term. I'm both here for the short term and long term for a play like that. They're checking all the right boxes. You look at a lot of these Japanese promo boxes, especially Pokemon Center boxes. You look at all these Kanazawa Pikachu boxes and Poncho Pikachu boxes and all this beautiful artwork, and I'm just pointing right there. Those are a couple. That's just 25th anniversary. They're making 1 million of them. Chinese making 1 million of them. These packs got like 25 cards in them. There's hits out galore. They're burning through all these different timelines at a crazy speed. They've already worked their way through Sun and Moon. They've already gotten to Hidden Fates. They've already doing all this crazy stuff. They already worked their way through all the tag team cards. We're in it. We're in it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're missing the boat on this, that's on you. That's not on me. I'm sorry. I was trying to keep this a play for myself for a long term. Cat's out the bag. I don't know what else to say. The Chinese market's here. I'm telling you. I don't know how sustainable this is. I don't know how long Lily collection boxes can sell for $100, and then the PSA 10s very quickly after release are selling in a PSA 10 for $1,400. Now, don't get me wrong, that Lily collection box has now moved from $100, then it moved to $150, then it moved to $300, then it moved to $400, then it was $500, and now those Lily collection boxes are at $600. What more do you want? You guys want like modern investing? You want modern Pokemon? How much money is there? You buy a $100 product, and in a couple months, it's now selling at $600. Your lowest eBay sellers are $599 for that box. When I didn't talk about that box in particular, but I talked about Chinese product, and I said, that's probably a play. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. That is a box of modern product that went from $100 to $600 in a couple months' time. Being in the right place at the right time, that's all it works out to be. And in 2020, end of 2022, early 2023, right place at the right time was a new emerging market, China. Sorry. If you missed the boat, you missed the boat. You didn't care. Maybe you cared, maybe you didn't care. Maybe you looked at them, you looked at the boxes, you went, these are pretty cool boxes. Oh, look at all these Evolutions boxes. Oh, that's cool. That's a Sylveon box. Oh, that's a Vapor or Umbreon box. Oh, that's a Lily collection box. Oh, that's a 25th anniversary box. I got Charizard artwork on it and Blastoids. Ooh, and that one's Venusaur, and that one's Rayquaza, and that one's Gardevoir. Gardevoir one's not great, but it's still nice. Those boxes were $60, and then they went up to $80. Then they went up to $100, and now I think that's still where they're at. $100 to $120 for those collection boxes. That was a $60 product, shipped. I don't know how much those things cost in China. They're not a lot of money. Right place at the right time. There's just, this hobby is all about right place at the right time. And this is the thing. Plays, they move. Plays are not stagnant. They don't just sit around forever with their thumb up the ass and say, guess what? I'm just here. I'm a play. Probably should buy me. People just won't too. And this is the thing. This is the thing we talk about. You know, one of the things I talked about on this channel is you go back to when, before I had this backdrop, when it was still just the Rockefeller Center being built, and it was just a very plain wall. You really had to like Pokemon to like those videos. There was nothing visually appealing about them whatsoever. It was just plain wall. Things I talked about, I had people in chats literally write this question. PK, if you're going to do a buyout of a card right now today, what would it be? I talked about 2 cards. One of them, I said I'd probably do like the Mimikyu from Lost Origins because I really like that card. Or not Lost Origins. Mimikyu from Lost Thunder. Or I would do the Gengar and Mimikyu from Team Up. And the crazy thing is you look at what card got bought out, which is doing one of the best performing buyouts of any modern card. And that is the Gengar and Mimikyu. Yeah. That was one of the 2 cards that I said, and is going crazy right now. Anybody could have watched that video, and when I said those exact words, like, this is a card I would probably be buying with that in mind. There are probably a lot of people heard that, and I know for a fact that video has like between 1 to 2,000 views on it. It means 1 to 2,000 people potentially heard me say that that card was a good potential candidate for a buyout. And what happens? Fast forward a couple months later, everybody's just talking about tag team cards. Can you believe it? Tag team cards, so crazy. Can you believe that these prices? Is this market manipulation? Probably a lot of it is. Probably some of it isn't. You know, there's just some of this product, you know, eventually it just takes people time to get there. Right place at the right time. Anybody who's been subscribed to this channel for greater than a year, tag team cards, right place at the right time. You just happen to be into those cards before everyone else. That's a lot of this hobby. Right place, right time. But this is the thing. If you are currently in the right place at the right time, and you know what? Tomorrow and a month from now and a year from now, that will probably change. It will be a new thing. You just have to constantly be positioning yourself to be in the right place at the right time. And I don't have a crystal ball. I don't. So you will only ever know if it's the right place at the right time if you're living in the moment. And I mentioned it earlier when I talked about those Mario and Luigi Pikachu or boxes, or I talked about those Scream cards, or I talked about all these Pokemon Center promos, whether it was a special livery Pikachu or special livery Bidoof or special livery Charizard. That was all just living in the moment, positioning yourself to be in this hobby at the right place at the right time. And again, and I've made entire videos talking about other times you have to position yourself is being liquid and sometimes an illiquid Pokemon hobby. And what does that mean is, trust me, I know a lot of people out there with just absolutely massive collections, but they are just some of the most illiquid people that I know in this hobby, because all their money, every available dime, penny, whatever they have, is tied up in different stuff. And that's just because they end up finding themselves hand-cut and so illiquid. So when those big buys come up, they're just unable to purchase them. And they have all the knowledge and everything that they would need to be successful in that big buy. Or when that, golden moment happens, they just can't capitalize. And again, it's constantly changing. It's just like, you think about a card like something like this, right? This card today is like a $25 card, $30 card. Or maybe this is a bad example. I don't have a Mew in front of me, but hold on. There's a Mew, right? What was this Mew? This Mew right now today is like $25, $30 card. The first ever sale of this, shout out to Professor Oaks, one of my mods. He's not number one mod in the game. Drew is number one mod, but, Oak is up there. Oak's one of the best dudes in the hobby. What did Oak do? He positioned himself. He sold his first ever Mew, one of the easiest cards in the history of this hobby, the grade. These cards grade so freaking easy. Like 100% almost. Gem mint 10 rate. If you have bad luck, you can be the one guy and get like an 8. And when you create an 8, you become a pop 1 because there's like almost none of them out there. That is how easy these things are to grade. Professor Oak took this Mew and he graded in a 10. He sold the first one for $222. I think he was buying these old made decks at the time for between $5 and $6. $6 for the whole deck. Obviously, the prices for the decks have gone up exponentially from them because everyone saw how much liquidity was in those decks if you were to break them down. But he bought a deck of, old made cards from Japan for like 6 or 7, I don't even know. Like, it was less than $10. They were super cheap at the beginning. And he said, you know what? I'm going to send those cards. He sent them away at $30 because they were going to be collection pieces. And he sold the first ever Mew graded in a 10 for $220. $222. You know why he was able to do that? Because he just positioned himself to be in the right place at the right time. Took a little bit of his knowledge, and he was able to capitalize on it. And not only was he able to capitalize with that Mew, he capitalized the shit out of those Gengars too. And if you don't know, the Gengars are just 1 per deck instead of 2. It's not like this crazy rare card, but the market just wasn't able to handle Gengars. And he sold his Gengar for a couple $100 too. And then obviously the market got oversaturated with those cards. But Professor Oak did that. And the only way he did that was he just positioned himself. Right place at the right time by being the first too. And then, maybe he might have missed a little bit of the opportunity when he did that first sale. If I was him, I would have just fucking liquidated everything I had, bought all those cards, sent them the grading in masses, and not really make that play as public as he did. And again, I say that play was public, but was it though? Was it a really crazy public play? Shout out to Professor Oak. He's killing it on YouTube right now. He's up to like 500 subscribers, and his Discord's doing phenomenal. But that video that he made, probably that video only got like 200 views. So all the people that were able to get real early in on that play, they positioned themselves just because they were subscribed to his channel, and they watched that video where he showed the sales. This Mew, when the first one sold on PWCC for $222, I didn't know that card was up for sale on PWCC for that weekly auction. I didn't know that these cards existed. But once I found out these cards existed, it changed, in a way, the landscape of the hobby a little bit. Like, not in a drastic way, but the amount of people that knew about this card when it sold for $222 versus the amount of people that know about this card today is night and day. But it's all about positioning yourself, And you just got to do that. Just got to live in the now. You live in the today, live in the moment. And if you're able to do that and you just live in the now, you're probably going to do pretty damn good. And one of the things I talk about all the time, and it is one of the biggest injustices I do, is I think that everyone is sort of making these plays or doing this sort of thinking. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody out there watching this video, everybody who's watching this video after the fact, everyone who's watching hour-long live streams just ranting about Pokemon or talking about, looking at charts or TCG player charts or eBay sales or, talking to people or having hour-long private, Discord group chats and stuff like that. I'm telling you, I was always under the impression that everybody was kind of doing that because those are the people I surround myself with. It's not a secret. I surround myself with some of the people that are the most actively engaged in this hobby. The truth is, those people are such a very, very small, minuscule minority of this hobby. I always said that maybe they're like in a very low percentile. There could be chances that some of these things, some of the people I'm talking to, could be in, fractions of percentiles doing some of this stuff. There are some cards that I've graded, like, you look at a stack like this of just all 10 Charizards. It's like, I thought everybody was doing that. Probably not. Maybe because you just find yourself in a very small subset of this hobby, but because everybody you surround yourself with are only doing these plays, or only doing these purchases, or constantly growing themselves. That was one of the best lives I had in a while, is having Colson on. Why is having Colson on such a great live? It's because Colson's out there doing it. He's proven it. He's showing everybody. Look at how young he is. The first time he was on this channel, he was like 19. Now he's 20. He seems like this old, grizzled veteran of this hobby. The dude is 20 years old, still a full-time student in college, doing crazy plays. If you haven't gone back, watch that live with Colson. If you haven't looked at his Instagram page, you should probably look at his Instagram page. See what he's doing. He's probably, in such a short amount of time, just put himself into such a small subset of this hobby and doing the absolute grind. But he said it himself. The way he was able to do it is he's got a insane knowledge of this hobby. And in a way, Colson never kind of grew out of Pokemon. He was always in it. And he talks about it. He might have fell off for a little while here and there, like, early high school, stuff like this. But for the most part, Colson was in this hobby for, his entire life. Or at least entire life of having an actual memory where, he could actually remember stuff. And one of the things he talks about is, being in a very small group of this hobby where things he found fun was just memorizing sets. For a lot of people, memorizing sets and all the cards that are in sets is probably not a fun thing for most people to do. Colson talked about just going online as a kid and pulling up all the set lists and just memorizing the cards in there. So then when he did decide to get into this, flipping in the hobby and stuff and buying and selling cards, that knowledge was already imprinted and ingrained in his mind. So he had all the tools he needed. And he was doing all that for fun. Memorizing cards and set lists and all that stuff, was just doing it for fun. And has now been able to take something that was a hobby and turn it into a very, very successful business. That's why Colson is just an awesome dude and one of my favorite people to talk to. And that's why that was such a fantastic live. And I got nothing but respect for what Colson's doing. And nothing but respect for, just the grind he puts in. But just the person he is. Colson's just a good dude. But it just shows you, you gotta position yourself to be successful. And Colson did that. He positioned himself to be successful, and he also positioned himself to be in the right place at the right time. Colson was very aware of the Japanese market, was very aware of all the hype that was coming into Pokemon, very aware of everything that was going on, and Colson very quickly identified a subsection of this hobby which was maybe not being overly utilized at the time. And what wasn't being overly utilized or overly went after was mid-era black and white full art cards. But that was what Colson grew up with. That is what his knowledge base was in. And then he was able to start going on all these Japanese websites, your buys and stuff like this, and starting to slowly acquire those cards. Till eventually, that play, it didn't really dry up. That's a bad way to put it, but it's definitely a much harder play to do today than when Colson was doing it a year or two ago, because he was able to start to build that market. The dude started to build the market in a mid-air full art black and white Japanese cards. That is impressive. I don't care. Like, that is just an impressive feat for anybody to do. Dude did it as a 19, 20-year-old. Did he corner the market? No. But was he able to navigate it better than most, if not everyone? Hell yeah, he was. One of the most awesome things. All that is positioning himself to be successful. And if you take anything out of this video, is position yourself to be successful. And I see Dan Catchmall Collectibles in the chat right now. Talk about a guy who just positioned himself to be successful. Dan's another perfect example. Dan positioned himself to be crazy successful in this hobby. He talks about it all the time. Dan's got an awesome backstory too. You know, went to school for chemical engineering, ended up like working, doing that, and then his job paid for him to go get his master's degree, and then he worked his way, you know, grinding it. And then when he got back into Pokemon, he had a simple goal of opening one of every set. And he had very little seed money when he first started. And then he started to do buys here and there until eventually he started to grow his eBay store more and more because he already had experience selling other things. So he was able to position himself that way because he was selling like beer steins and coins and all kinds of random stuff Dan talks about selling at one point. So he was positioning himself to be successful by having that eBay store ready and at least being familiar with the selling process. And that might sound such a simple thing for most people to just position themselves to know how to sell. But for most people in this hobby, I'm telling you right now, I see it every day. There are so many poorly titled eBay listings and stuff like this. Dan was able to position himself to know how to sell, slowly started to acquire, you know, cards, booster boxes, a lot of this being personal collection goals, until eventually a great buy, you know, came up. He talks about it all the time. The guy came with more or less a van full of product. Dan ends up spending, I think he said like $25,000 for that entire purchase. That entire purchase, he is still to this day hasn't worked himself 100% through that product or purchase. He's still randomly finding like flash fire packs and stuff from that. Sorry, not flash fire. Fire red leaf green packs. Like an absolutely ridiculous thing for anybody to say that you're still working your way through a collection buy from multiple years ago because you just had so many totes. But then he didn't just let that one buy slow him down. He continued to acquire more and more and more and more and more, and then just continued to grow a business to now Dan has sales greater than 7 figures. Yes, Dan has now sales greater than $1 million in Pokemon. He'll be able to do that in like a little over a half decade's timeline. How did he do that? It's not just dumb luck. Trust me, there's part of this, all Pokemon is dumb luck, just, you know, being lucky enough to be born in the 99 timeline, lucky enough that you grew up where you, like, have a attachment to Pokemon. So because you have an attachment to Pokemon, it makes you actually interested in this stuff. And then, you know, finding yourself in a position to start, you know, reacquiring this stuff until eventually Dan was able to grow himself into a huge eBay business. And, you know, I hope Dan ends up, you know, getting, like, good deals with eBay and maybe like better rates and stuff like this, but all that is just position himself to be able to do that. Or even you look at a guy like Z&G, another huge eBay business. He does more consignments, but you hear James has an awesome story too of positioning himself to be successful. That's what James did. And then, you know, James from Z&G positioned himself. He talks about getting back in and doing his first collection buy of Pokemon and spending like $200 and ends up selling the collection for like $205. Made like $5 out of that entire collection. Till he worked his, and then just kept doing that. You know, your local, like, not just eBay, you like Facebook groups and OfferUps and all these like random apps. And James was just doing that, doing buys here and there, and then started grading cards and then started buying sealed product and then started growing a YouTube channel talking about like his day to day, just flipping, and then like trying to become successful in Pokemon and the ups and downs. And for a lot of people that were very lucky to find James early on, they were able to find this guy. And what did James do? He worked his way up until eventually, like, he had a bunch of booster boxes and one of those, a bunch of like Neo Genesis boxes, till eventually he saw a first edition box come up for sale, and he didn't have the proper funds to buy that first edition box, but he had worked his way up to a decent collection of like Neo Genesis boxes and stuff. And he reached out to the person selling that first edition box and said, listen, I don't have the available capital for this first edition box, but would you be interested in a trade? Because I have like whatever, they were like 10 Neo Genesis boxes or whatever it was at the time. I don't even think it was that many. They were like unlimited ones. And the person said no to him at first. And then a couple months went by and they weren't able to move that first edition box. And then they said, you know what? We will take these other more liquid booster boxes because they will be easier for us to sell than this first edition box. Then what happened? Logan Paul did his crazy first edition booster box break. And then James, just on a whim, more as a joke, and maybe a partial it was serious, but he just decided to tag Logan Paul in a Instagram post like, hey, Logan, if you're interested in my first edition booster box, I have one available for sale. More or less just like a joke, like not expecting Logan Paul to reach out to him. Sure as shit, what happened? Logan Paul reached out to James, slid into Mr. James Carson's DMs, and said, yeah, James, I actually am interested in this booster box, till eventually they worked out a sale of greater than $300,000. This is a man who did his first ever sale for $200 and made $5 after he sold that collection. Had worked his way up in a very, very small amount of time to where he was selling one single booster box for $300,000 in this market. How did he do that? Positioned himself. Until eventually Graded Gem reached out to him, and then James, started doing the Graded Gem thing, got overwhelmed. That was the crazy height, and all the people submitted, and PSA did the overload. And then what happened? James found himself getting all these submissions back, and a lot of people at the time, the hype has maybe, died down a little bit, or people are getting these big returns, and a lot of these people thought it was their first ever submission. They weren't familiar with selling. So what did James do? He said, well, I'm already getting your returns back. How about I create a consignment service? My consignment service will be when I get your Graded Gem returns back, I will sell them on eBay for you. I'll take a small commission. I'll send you out the money. You get paid. You don't have to worry about selling these cards yourself. And people said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, James. Let's do that. And then what happened? James started doing that, got all these Graded Gem returns back, started to slowly list them on eBay, until eventually he grew that consignment business big enough. He said, you know what? We're not just going to do this with Graded Gem submissions anymore. We're going to let anybody send us cards to our consignment service. And then sure as shit, people started sending James tons and tons of cards to consignment service. Till now, James, obviously, whether he hasn't officially said it, but you can look at his rates, he's got some pretty sweet deals with eBay. So eBay has now reached out to James. James has great consignment rates. He's grown himself to be one of the most trusted, most reputable people in this entire hobby. How did he do that? Right place at the right time. And not only was he positioned himself in the right place at the right time, when he was in the moment, he took advantage of it. And that is all Pokemon is. This hobby is no secret. You just got to be there. You got to position yourself. And when the good opportunities or the good deals or the good products or whatever, when things make themselves available to you, you need to take advantage of it. You can't just drag your feet. If you find yourself, you look at everything that has happened since, even if for those of you who are new in this hobby or you've been around this hobby forever, if you look at what's happened from what happened from 2019 to 20, that crazy trajectory went. And then you go from 2020 to 2021 to 2022 to 2023. I'll tell you right now, if from 2020 to 2023 you're watching hour-long lives like this, you're watching all these other, content creators, you're watching all these people that are running businesses and doing all these plays and everything, and you find yourself in a worse off position in 2023 than you were in 2020, I'll tell you right now, and I will just promise you, you're doing something wrong, because and this is a scary thing. If you do find yourself in a worse position today, in 2023, than you were in 2020 with this hobby, you probably know all the mistakes you're doing. And I don't know what those mistakes could possibly be, but you probably are continuing to make them. So stop. Stop the bleeding. You should know what you're doing at this point. And trust me, there was a lot of people in 2020 got taken out back and just destroyed. there was a lot of things. You know, we talked about it as being fake sales. You look at like first edition Lugia from Neo Genesis selling for first sale sold for like $120,000. What's that card selling at today? That card historically for me is still an extremely expensive card selling at a great price point. But guess what? That price point ain't nowhere near $120,000. You want to know why? Because anybody who was in the hobby told you that price was BS. And if that was a confirmed sale, there's a reason why there were so many people making videos talking about a sale like that as, is this even real? Because it was so out of like, you know, the craziness, right? But you look at what that card is selling at today, you're like, okay, well, Lugia from Neo Genesis is still not an easy 10 by any stretch of the imagination. So it still does make sense at the price it's selling at maybe today. So, but even now, today, at the prices this card is selling at, it still seems expensive. But you could have been the guy who bought that card for $120,000 and lost $90,000 on that card. You could have been that guy, you know? Like, even though everything went fantastic and we're still in this hyperbolic, like, timeline, you still could have been the guy who bought a base set booster box for $30,000 and it's now worth $15,000. You could have been the guy that bought modern Vivid Voltage booster box at $240 and it's sitting at $150. You could have been the guy who bought Shining Fates at $130 and it's sitting at like $45, $50 right now. You could have been all those guys down the line, but it just, all that is not positioning yourself to make like wise decisions in this hobby. Doing all that is just you chasing something. And I don't know what you're chasing or why you're chasing stuff. But if you're always chasing stuff and you only ever want to buy stuff when it's at the peak of the mountain, a base set booster box at $30,000 is the peak of a mountain. A Lugia at $120,000 is the peak of the mountain. A Vivid Voltage modern booster box at $240 is the peak of the mountain. A $130 Shining Fates ETB is the peak of the mountain if you're only ever buying there. Or even look at something like Hidden Fates. You bought it at the peak of the mountain, which was $300. And now that ETB is sitting today at like $150. It's been stagnant for a long time. Probably actually not a bad like price at this point because Hidden Fates is probably going to just start going up eventually, but it's been stagnant now. You would have been stagnant for years in Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates being one of the greatest products Pokemon has ever produced. You would have been stagnant now for years and down 50% in your money. If you are always that guy, if you're always chasing shit at the top, at the peak, if you never cared about team up cards, never cared about tag team cards from Sun and Moon, but now, because prices have finally started to go crazy, and now is like, you're FOMOing in. You're just saying, now is the time I need to buy this. Because, you know, we take a card that is now 4X. Well, what if it 4Xs again? You know what? It might. It might. But sometimes you just have to take a nice deep breath and say, you know what? I'm going to have to let this one pass. I'm just going to catch the next thing. Because I'm telling you, as this hobby keeps going on, the next thing constantly makes itself available. Just make sure you're constantly positioning yourself to be successful. That's it. But, yeah, boy. That was a nice little rant. That was a nice little PK rant for you. Talk about myself in the third person. 49 minutes, 2 seconds. I'm going to go to the top of the chat real quick. I'm going to see if there's any questions. And then, yeah. See, we got a lot of familiar names. We got Jester, number 1 mod in the game, Drew. Brody Plays, Chris Texas, good to see you guys. Let's see. A lot of people saying congratulations. Thanks, guys. Yeah, feels very excited to be home with my number 2, like, human son. Technically, he's number 3 because we still call our dog our fur baby. He's still technically, he's number 1 son. My second oldest is number 2, and now this one is number 3, but that is semantics, so. But, yeah, it's kind of... You got a lot of people at Card Party tonight, or at least getting ready for the Card Party weekend right now. I know CTR is there, Rev's there, Vault's there, a bunch of, you know, I think Danny Phantom's going to be there, Pokemon Radar, a bunch of people are going to be there right now at Card Party, probably just having a great time. So I do hope all those guys have a blast, and it'll be interesting to hear how all that goes. Wolfie K said, "Do not name the baby Paldea." I will not, but he was smart though. You know why? Because he did just barely squeak in time to before the Paldea Evolved release. So I do now have to get a third booster box of Paldea Evolved. I only currently have two. I have one for myself, one for my son. And I haven't been acquiring positions in any of this modern product lately because, one, I'm doing more or less the cardinal sin I tell you not to do, is I'm not being as liquid as I would like to be. So when I do get position or opportunities to do like big positions in modern, I haven't really been able to do it because I hate how long my money is more or less stagnated or tied up in a lot of this product. So for a lot of these modern products, I've only been buying like 2 booster boxes of it. Paldea Evolved, Scarlet and Violet Base, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin. All these products, I only bought 2 booster boxes. Lost Origins actually bought more than 2, but after Lost Origins, Silver Tempest, Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, I've only been buying 2 booster boxes. And these are not investment pieces. These are collection pieces. You know, when I buy a booster box for my son who was just born, that is not a sell tomorrow type play. That is a long-term thing. Which is ironic because my firstborn was smart enough is a silly way to phrase it, but was lucky enough that he was at least born before Evolving Skies. So one of the booster boxes of my firstborn son's collection is Evolving Skies, and that one booster box alone has brought his entire value of his collection like up just in that one product itself. And again, it's only main expansions. It's not specialty sets or anything like that. Let's see. We got Pokemon Classics. Mr. Matt says, PK, hit me up if you want a guest on a stream next week. I'm off for the summer. Matt, dude, congrats for being off on the... yeah, man. Let me know a day. I'll message you after this live's over. Let me know a day, Monday through Friday, early in the morning. It doesn't have to be like a nighttime stream. We could do like a 2-hour chat. Be a lot of fun. Let's see. Chris Texas says he sold his case of Lost Origin. Yeah, man. Sell your case now, and when prices retrace, which they will, time to just pick them up again. Zard Lurkin 92 said, I just sold the Pop 5 PSA 10 non-hollow T-Tar from Stormfront for $400 on eBay. I bought that pack back in 2019 for $60, and he spent $15 for grading a few months ago. Grade your own hollows, yeah. Zard Lurkin, that is pretty sick that you hit a 10. Peak.Chew says, wait, you're still alive. Yes, Peak, I am alive. It is funny. You don't make videos for 1 week, and people are like, what happened to you? I had a kid. Sorry, I was in the hospital. I couldn't leave. But it's nice, though, because now I got some free time. I'm doing some pre-recorded videos now, something I haven't done in forever on my channel. So I'm doing some, like, submission returns, some plays I'm doing. Try to be a little like transparent, like, all right, this is what I did. I got the product, I opened it up, I sent the cards, this is the PSA value level I sent it at. So none of these cards have got back to me yet because they're literally like brand new videos that were just created. But yeah, they're pre-recorded stuff, and it'll just be interesting to see where they wins, where they losses, you know. And then I record like what's my thought and what are my plans for some of these plays I'm doing. So some of these pre-recorded videos will be probably like releasing in a few months when I get my PSA subs back and stuff and sell those cards onto the market. So I do want to start. I've been talking a lot about like the flippability of Pokemon and the investability of Pokemon. I do want to start talking a little bit more about the collectability of Pokemon, but the only problem is it goes back to what I mentioned earlier in the video. I'm just finding myself in the now. And the market is making it so easy to do these flipping plays that's where so much of my time has just been allotted to, is because it's there. And I do hope to be able to like pull back from that a little bit and start doing more like the collection talk videos. What am I buying for my PC? Stuff like this. And like, you know, good opportunity. There's a lot of cards right now, good buying opportunities. A lot of cards after the crazy hype periods have really retraced to great buying opportunities as not investments, but if you want them for your collection, there's a lot of cards today that, because I am bullish in this market and I do believe in the long-term trajectory of Pokemon, I do believe today there is a very small subset of cards that might be at their all-time lows. especially when it comes to a few. And then, you know, things to say words like some Wizard of the Coast cards and stuff. There are some like older WotC cards, you know, relatively low pops, tougher the grade type cards that are selling at price points that I think are very attractive if you want to acquire positions today for your collection, because there might never be opportunities to buy this low again. And anytime you're trying to grow a big collection, you do want to get in at your lowest possible price point, because the lower amount of money you spend, the more money you have available to buy other stuff for your collection. So I do want to start making some videos about that, but that's tough too, to like talk about a card and say like, this is a good buying opportunity. And then people be like, well, do you think the card's going to be worth more money in the future? It's like, I don't know. I don't care. And that's something I don't say enough. And those are the topics I don't hit enough, is when I don't use those words when I say, I don't care if something goes up. A lot of personal collection items, you got to go into it with the I don't care, because there was a very long time in this hobby where you were buying stuff with that intention of, I don't care if it goes up. But because we live in the modern world today, and because there are so many opportunities right now today, I find myself talking about that more and more. And it's a lot of just living in the now, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And I would like to get back to some more of those collection videos. So, and I hope some people will be able to really understand some of those too. Like, how can you buy something and just truly not care if it goes up in value? Yeah. Or like I'm doing like long-term personal like collection goals. I'm doing a lot of like, you know, picking up a lot of cards already graded by other grading card companies, cards that were either one, misgraded, or poorly utilized grading. And poorly utilized grading means I'm picking up cards that in a PSA slab or another graded card slab, especially for, you know, relatively low pop, hard to grade stuff, it was just the optimization of the grading card companies they used were so poor that I'm able to pick up some of this really truly near mint stuff, sometimes cheaper than if I were to buy that card raw, and definitely way cheaper than if I were to buy that same card already graded by PSA. And so I'm taking a lot of those cards, cracking them out, doing, you know, like graded plays to PSA. All this is a lot, well, not all this, but some of this stuff are personal collection items, stuff like this. But this is the thing too. Pokemon is not a sprint. Pokemon is a marathon. So some of these plays I'm doing, some of this personal collection buy and stuff, like, you can be talking about like years, just years to acquire this stuff. So sometimes it is tougher to make those type of videos because people want the fast pace, what's going on right now today in the hobby. They don't want to know the what's going on like in the next couple year type video. So Christopher Odo said he got a few of the Kanto mini tins that were put up on PokemonCenter.com. Yeah. So Daniel Ruse says, really need to buy a case of Brilliant Stars Pokemon Center ETBs. So I do have my one case. I always pick up a case of all Pokemon Center ETBs right at release. Just checking a box. Again, that is more of a collection piece. It's definitely not an investor piece, because if you're investing in Pokemon Center ETBs right at release, with the exception of like Crown Zenith, things that, you know, had relatively short supplies, it'll probably be a long-term play for you. And at this point, anything Pokemon Center exclusive, it's not a lie. It's something I've preached from as much as I can. If it is available on PokemonCenter.com, prices will not be able to run. But I do believe that there's a lot of products on PokemonCenter.com, especially like, you know, all these Pokemon Center exclusive products that when they are no longer available, prices will go up. I do have like, I'll show you a collection buy I did. Hold on. So this is something my wife bought me. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but this is the Pokemon Center exclusive chessboard. It is absolutely massive, weighs a ton, super high quality. if you guys are chess players, if you like a high quality chess board, or if you just are curious what it even looks like, just go on PokemonCenter.com and type in chessboard and check it out. It is a very cool collection piece. I'm gonna actually open it up, display it somewhere. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. My wife bought it for me for early Father's Day gift, so that was pretty cool of her. She is a good one, man. She is a good one. Fresh Tat said PK rant. Yeah, you know the PK rants. Let's see. Yeah, people saying congrats. Thank you guys, man. It's fun. Being a dad is a lot of fun. At the very beginning, it's definitely tiring. You get no sleep, especially like these 2-3 hour feeding schedules, stuff like this. Being in the hospital, people coming in and out, like no sleep. It took me, I'm still not 100% there yet with the sleep schedule, but I'm working on it. Not having work obviously helps a lot. Like some of the dads that don't get any sort of maternity leave whatsoever and have to go back like the next day, I can't even imagine. Yeah, people are saying PK doesn't talk about modern. It doesn't matter. I could talk about modern till I'm blue in the face, and people will tell you PK doesn't talk about modern. But I did mention it earlier in this video, talking about like the one-of-one ring, because I saw a lot of people on my feed were making videos. I know Rudy made a video, Rattle made a video, at least they were in both their thumbnails. Again, I didn't really have time to watch those videos, but one-of-one ring card, it seems like there's like $1 million bounty out there by somebody. Scary. Like, for me, it's scary. What's the worst case that happens with that one-of-one card is... The worst case that happens with that one-of-one card is, like, somebody does an early box break, like, the same way as you have people with huge allocations, especially breaking down products, selling singles and stuff like this. Your Nick old school Pokemons out there, you guys that have distribution and they break down, 100 booster boxes in order to get singles and sell them on TCG Player and stuff like that because they're doing that grind. Worst case scenario is one of those guys pulls the ring and they like make it very clear to everybody. So everybody out there who hasn't even got their product in hand to open yet, and there are a lot of people out there buying this Lord of Rings special collection boxes from, to pull that ring, whether they're like saying it or not. Trust me, you don't have this much hype around a product, but the worst case is somebody like that pulls that card, and then people who have even got their product in the mail are just like defeated. Because yes, is it the ultimate lotto? Yes. Are there going to be hundreds of thousands of these products made? Yes. Are your chances of pulling that card next to zero? Yes. But they're still in the back of everybody's mind, like there's always a chance, right? It's that Dumb and Dumber quote. So you're telling me there's a chance. It's just like that. But worst case scenario is that card gets pulled right away, and then it just, prices of all this product starts to like drastically drops. I'm nervous about a one-of-one ring card because I think Magic the Gathering has to be aware of that, right? They have to be aware of like, hey, if this card gets pulled before anybody gets their product, like, we're dead, we're doomed. And if you're doing pre-orders of a product like this, and you do believe you can pull that card with your pre-order, that does mean that exact scenario is possible. So that means that card right at release will be out there. And if you have somebody who, instead of selling that pre-order to you, they just decide to open it themselves to sell singles on TCG Player, that is a very scary thought. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know like how one-of-one chases work. I'm sure like people in the sports world have way better knowledge of that, and like what is when that ultimate one-of-one chase card gets pulled, like what happens to the rest of the market. I know like people talk about like the LeBron James logo mans and stuff like this. Like I like hear them in passing, but like I do know what a logo man card is, but like that's about the extent. I don't know what those cards are worth. I don't know if those cards have been pulled or what. So it's a scary thought, but there's also like the devil on my shoulder, like, okay, like what would I do if I bought that card, or if I opened that card? Opened that card. If I just bought one single collector's edition Lord of the Rings box and I pulled the card and I pulled it in the privacy of my own home, I'm not telling anyone. I would just like try my best to, I don't know, refinance my house, buy every single box available on the market because I know that nobody's going to pull it, and that the eventually prices for a product like that will go crazy if a card like that never gets pulled. If it goes like a couple months or a year or 2 years or 3 years and that card never gets pulled, because again, at that point, you're not worried about reprints. It's a one of one. You are the one. You are the one ring that rules it all. If you pull that card, you are the one card. You rule it all. You have insider knowledge that no one else has, and you would be able to do crazy things in that market because at that point, like there's very few things in the trading card hobby that is 100% certainties, but to own the one of one card and to be the only person that knows you own that card is a scary thought. There's some crazy market manipulation you can do. You would just be buying up as much product as you could, because with the thought that there's a high likelihood that card or those products will go up because that chase will be out there. And then given enough time, depending on how long you're able to hold on to that card and not sell it into the market, the amount of mystique and hype and what ifs that will surround that card. If nobody pulls the one of one Lord of the Rings card, if nobody pulls it, that will never not be talked about. That card will never just die. The question of what if, where is it, will never die for a card like that. It will be talked about from now till the end of days, or until the end of the last person out there buys the last pack of Magic the Gathering ever. That card will always be in everybody's conversation of the what if card. And if for some reason you had that card and you knew you had that card, you would hold all the power. Just like the ring from Lord of the Rings. All the power that's in that ring. You would wield that power. It is a scary thing. Now, you could do that for good. You could do that for bad. You could take the easy payday, because that will be an easy payday, right? You pull that card, you send it to PSA, you throw it up on eBay at some obnoxious dollar amount, like $6.9 million, right? And then you just have best offers on and see what people offer you. I don't know who's going to pay like $1 million+ for that card, but you just let it be out there, and then you have a lot of people saying, oh, what if? How much? Until eventually you just need one buyer that's willing to pay you like 1.25, 1.5, 2 million. I have no clue how much a card like that is worth. Like, your buyer pool on the high end of that is such a small buyer pool. I know like Post Malone and those guys. Post Malone, I think he bought like a Alpha Black Lotus or something. He spent a crazy amount of money, but like, how many Post Malones are out there buying, high grade Alpha Black Lotuses? How many people are going to be out there who have that, big dick energy type money that they're going to throw around trying to get a one of one Lord of the Rings card? I don't know. They're out there, but you would just field offers. And then, but that's the thing too, to have something that's worth $1 million, and maybe your net worth is $1 million, to have 100% or, like a multiple of your entire net worth in one card, for a lot of people that might be a next to impossible thing to do, just to wait and field offers. So I don't know. It'd be a fascinating thing. Let's see. Elliot said, PK, did you hear about this company in Japan running a big lottery system? I'm not sure what you're talking about, though. People are saying congrats again on the kid. Yep. See, we got Dan Mason, number 1 mod again. Pokey Snipe says, getting your order fulfilled on those crazy Pokemon Center drops is a lot of luck, too. Yep. It's a lot of luck. It's a lot of being in the right place at the right time. It's just like shout out to Garen M. My very last case that I currently own of Evolving Skies, that was from a Pokemon Center drop. At 7 a.m., I was getting ready for work, like walking out the house, and Garrett M. just, I don't know why I did it, but thank you again, Garen, for messaging me. Messaged me on Instagram, was like, hey, PK, by the way, there's booster boxes of Evolving Skies up on PokemonCenter.com. So I was like, okay, well, these are $400 booster boxes right now, and I was able to buy a case. And it was just right place at the right time. If he didn't message me, I would have missed out. If I didn't look at my phone when he sent that message, I would have missed out. A lot of luck was involved in that. And sometimes it was right place, right time. Let's see. Oh, man. Jump to the bottom. First, Tom Yu said, did you miss the whole live? Missed a lot of the live. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes I just talk. I'll tell you what, though. I am considering doing the more pre-recorded lives, too, like the shorter videos. Again, this is an hour. I look over, I'm like an hour and 10 minutes in. I have a very hard time, like, just talking about one topic and then just ending a live. But I feel if I can do the shorter form content, I know a lot of people really enjoy that, so it's tough to do the pre-recorded. Probasaur, good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a chat in a very long time. He said, need to get another PSA sub together. These cards are selling almost as fast as I list them. Trying to look ahead what might start rising in price over the next 6 months. Just kind of haven't bought, yeah. That's what I find myself sometimes doing, and it is always like it's not a great feeling when you look at a card and you're like, I think this card might go up, and then you kind of just do your other plays, and when you go back and you look at it and you're like, yeah, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. But nobody has like unlimited amounts of money too. It's just, you can only spread yourself out so thin. So Jester Beat says, just buy what you like. If you have good taste, chances are it's going to go up. Yes and no. A lot of people like Amazing Rares, Jester. Those didn't go up. So, you know, there, and that's only reason I talk about like Amazing Rares because super modern, or Vivid Voltage booster boxes at $240. You might have really liked that product. Probably didn't do good. Baby Shinins from Shining Fates. Probably didn't do good. You know, there's a couple things that just because you like it, chances are that it might go up, but it's never a guarantee. So it really depends on what are you buying, you know? It's just like a card like these, you know? Like the Chinese promos. If you really like it, maybe they'll go up, but probably not. If you understand, like, what is that card? Mass produced, gonna be a million of them out there. So but yeah, there's validity to that, but you just got to be careful. It's just all about what you're buying. So Joe Paxton says, how do you know if the card that's already graded is poorly graded? Photos, man. Like, one of the things I tell people, and one of the things I always recommend, is if you have never graded a card, you should be grading your own cards. And one of the processes is when you grade your own cards, you will eventually get shitty grades. Not every card's going to be a 10. Sometimes you get poor grader, unlucky grader, or you just miss something. And the more graded cards you get, those lower grades, you just take the time. You look at it and you say, okay, this is a PSA 9. Why did it grade a PSA 9? And then just examine it. And the more you do that, the more and you'll start to realize, like, oh, I guess this card is a little off center. Like, oh, it's a little white nick in this corner. Oh, there's a little edge where there's a little peel in here. Oh, there's a scratch in the hollow here. Oh, okay. And then you start to do that, right? You just slowly start to get better at pre-grading. And then when you get better at pre-grading, eventually your grading will get relatively consistent, where if you submit 100 cards, you'll be spot on with most of those grades. You'll probably never be 100%, but you'll have a really relatively good understanding. And then you'll understand other grading card companies. Like, everybody's skills are not exactly the same. PSA, if you got any kind of dings or dents in your cards, you're really going to get beat up hard. You're probably going to automatically drop down to a 6. Where like CGC, they're not going to hit you that hard on that surface grade for that little ding. So maybe you'll still be able to squeak by with like an 8 or an 8.5. So then you start to understand the different grading card companies' scales. And then eventually you start to understand, like, how does PSA handle little whites and corners versus other grading card companies. And once you figure out all that stuff, you go, oh, this grader was really harsh on this card. And this card will probably do really well if I crack it and resubmit it, because I can't see any truly visible flaws with this card. And that's all that is. It just comes with time and experience, and then just spending the time to look at the card and saying, but if you pull up a card and you see a card that's a 9 and there's 3 corners on it, all have whitening, and there's a little bit of edge wear, and then maybe that card was overgraded, you don't buy that card as a cracking possibility. Or if you see, and then sometimes, like, you just look for older certs too, when CGC was much harsher. Those 3.6s, 3.7s, the cert numbers that start with it, that is the sweet spot of some of the harshest grading. When CGC was really getting flooded with a ton of these bulk submissions, they were just pumping out 8.5s and 9s like they were candy and giving nobody 10s. A lot of those cards severely undergraded. So all you got to do is you look at them. You got to look at the front. You got to look at the back photo. You can't just say, I'm not going to look at the back photo. I'm going to judge the condition of a card by the front of the card. That is the worst possible sentence you could ever say in this hobby, is I'm going to judge the condition of a card by the front of the card and not the back. Like, don't ever do that. But yeah, Joe, that's all you got to do. Let's see. So Brew City TCG said, congrats PK, on the same schedule as you, waiting on our second in 6 weeks. Brew, congrats, man. I hope everything works out great for you. And yeah, man, congratulations on the number 2 child. That's awesome. So Pokestuff says, my son was born May 4th. Don't laugh. He's not called like it's 3 in the morning here in the UK. So you know how you're feeling, yeah. But may the 4th be with your son, man. I hope you gave him like a Luke or an Anakin, or I'm running out of Star Wars names. A Han. Maybe don't call him Han. But it'd be funny if he was born on May the 4th and you did give him like a Star Wars name. So Probosor says, Rudy was killing me with the video on the 1 of 1 ring. Everybody's trying to get one, each trying to one up each other to see who has the biggest washing machine. I don't know what that means, biggest washing machine, like biggest dick in the game, maybe. Yeah, Rudy's awesome. Yeah, I like Rudy. That's a video I got to go watch. I'm sure. Rudy, I watch most, if not all, of Rudy's videos. And like I said, the only reason I haven't been able to watch a lot of content lately is just because I've literally been in the hospital, not watching my phone at all. Yeah, Garen L. So Garen M. Yeah, shout out to Garen M. He said backyard breaks will probably be the one to pull the 1 of 1 ring. If the 1 of 1 ring gets pulled by an influencer, there will be a lot to question, right? I'll give you an example. In Pokemon, let's say Pokemon puts out a 1 of 1 card, which I hope Pokemon never does. And I honestly hope that we never see serialized cards in Pokemon. But let's say Pokemon does put out a 1 of 1 like card, and it does get pulled by a Real Break Innate or a Pokerev, or one of the, or a Leonhart, like one, or one of these really big channels. That will really throw up some questionable things, because when you think about it, yeah, how much product is Real Break Innate or Pokerev or Leonhart opening of modern product? Rev, maybe he's opening up 80 booster boxes if he's doing a massive live stream where he's trying to complete a set like he did for Lost Origins and didn't pull the Aerodactyl. Or Leonhart, maybe Leonhart's opening 3 to 4 boxes of the most current set. Or Real Break Innate, maybe he's opening like 4 booster boxes worth of a modern set between booster boxes and ETBs, and he does all his single packs and his Target runs and Walmart runs and all the stuff that Real Break Innate's known for. Now, how much is 4 booster boxes or even 80 booster boxes for a guy like Pokerev? How many booster boxes is that when you take in the entire print run? It's not even a percentage of a percent of a percent. Like, it's such a drop in the bucket that the odds of them pulling that card is so astronomical. there would just be so many red flags that would be thrown up for that. Even if it was legit on the level, nobody would ever believe that that actually happened. If anybody does statistics and you look at standard deviation charts or anything like that, or just like the outliers, right? Impossible. Percentage chances of pulling that card are so low. It's the same way as like winning the lotto, in a way. You know, when you think about Pokemon, you think about how many millions of packs of each set are printed. Not booster boxes, just individual packs. Pokemon Radar had a great chat the other day with PokeRev, and one of the things PokeRev talked about is one of the people he buys packs from broke down 250,000 Pokeball tins. Yes, you heard that number correctly. One of the people he buys from broke down 250,000 Pokeball tins. So you get 3 packs per tin. So that's 750,000 packs one group of people open. That is almost 1,000,000 packs one guy open. Obviously, anybody breaking down 250,000 Pokeball tins is a whale of a whale and are in a very small, minuscule subset of the hobby. Somebody who breaks down that much product. But if somebody could break down 250,000 Pokeball tins, well, that's just Pokeball tins. How many packs are in booster boxes and single packs and check lane blisters and 3-pack blisters and ETBs and build and battle stadiums and build and battle boxes and whatever the 6-pack ones are called, and all this auxiliary product and mini tins and regular tins and all these boxes and collection boxes and trainer toolkits and just 1,000,000 different Pokemon products that have packs in it. When you add all those packs together, how many millions of packs are there? So your chances of pulling one of those cards are so astronomically low. The thought of one of these huge YouTubers pulling it, yeah, would throw a lot of signals, a lot of red, like, yeah, I wouldn't believe it personally. So Probersaur says there's still a ton more serialized cards, more rings. You have a better chance at pulling. I don't know. I haven't bought any. Yeah, and I don't know enough about Magic. I don't know what the demand would be, and yeah, I'm sure like the rings, like the 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 25, if that is what they're doing, or 1 out of 1,000 or whatever, there'll probably definitely be demand for that. And to be honest with you, I might just buy one ring card, like one of the more common ones, even if it is like a 1 out of 2,000 or 1 out of 5,000 serialized ring card. I would be interested in owning one of those cards, even though I'm not a Magic fan, just because this is a very historic thing that's going on in the hobby right now. So, wow. You said Booyah's in the chat. You said Booyah. Where you been at, buddy? I have missed you. I haven't seen you in the chat, bud. You say Booyah. He's one of the good ones. Micknick said, if somebody pulled it and the rest of the world didn't know, would be the closest thing to ruling the world. Yeah, you would. I'm telling you, I would. I own a lot of my house, like almost all of it. So there's a lot of equity built in my house. I would probably just refinance my house at like whatever the crazy interest rates are today, like 7 or 8%. And I would refinance and take all that cash and buy product. And even though I'm paying 7% or 8% on my money by refinancing my house, like all that money, I still feel I would make a better return on the investment if I knew for a fact I own that 1 of 1 Lord of the Rings card. Now, how many of those products actually exist? How many? I don't know. How liquid is that market? I don't know. But if I was able to, like insert like $300,000 to $400,000 of just cash right into that market and then just start buying up product, I probably single-handedly could help sway that market a little bit. I don't know how much 400,000 like sways any Magic product, but I'm sure it has like a little bit of sway room to it. And then I would just own it all and then just slowly trickle it out onto the market, or maybe quickly sell it onto the market. I don't really know. It would be fascinating though. Mick said, damn, PK got me thinking like Golem right now. Yeah. My precious. Yeah, Garen M said, PK, you're welcome. Right place at the right time. Yeah, man. So, Pokefish says, what up, PK? I'm At a in real life tourney just joined. Did you have the baby yet? Yes, I did have the baby, man. Thank you for asking. He is a healthy baby boy. He was a chunker though, 9 pounds 8 ounces. So he's a big boy. Let's see. So Colemanian said he let his 8-year-old son open up an Evolving Skies ETB today. Found it at Walmart for MSRP. He got 7 white code cards. The last pack had a black code card. Guess what he got? Yup, a holo. Oh, I thought I was going to get to the bottom of that chat and it was going to say, yup, a Moonbryon. But, dude, that sucks, man. 1 holo out of 8 packs. That's why they call it Evolving Skies, man. People forget how brutal Evolving Skies is. Same thing as Chillin' Rain. Chillin' Rain, when you look at Chillin' Rain on paper and you go, holy cow, Chillin' Rain has a ton of great cards in it. When it comes to the pack opening experience, that's why they call it Chillin' Rain, man. It is a painful experience. Same thing with Evolving Skies. Rattle showed that to a lot of people. You saw what Rattle did with his crazy Evolving Skies openings. How many hundreds upon thousands of packs he had to open, and it can be painful. And again, Evolving Skies, that's pre-trainer gallery, subset card, stuff like this. So, when you're pulling 1 out of 7 packs, 1 out of 8 pack pull rate, like, it's brutal. Justin Pan says, love the stream title. Yeah, the reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. Mark Twain, that's actually like a misquote. Mark Twain didn't actually say that, but that's a quote everybody goes with, and that's a quote we're going with for the title of this video. Garen said, my daughter was born on Crown Zenith release date. I put a PSA 9 birthday Pikachu in a box and a bunch of Crown Zenith product. Figure if she likes Pokemon later on, we could open it up on one of her birthdays. Dude, Garen M, you're doing it right, man. That's fathering. You're doing it right, man. That's awesome. I think it will be, my kid's too young right now to like really appreciate Pokemon. I've like put it on in the background, but he's not really watching. He just likes music at this point. And then I got him an ABC's book with Pokemon, and he will like Pokemon. Whether he wants to or not, I will be that dad. Just like there's some dads out there that force their kids to play sports, and then the kids grow up and they resent their dad because their dad was like super hard on making them play sports. I'll be that dad, but with Pokemon. And maybe he'll resent me and be like, Dad, it might have like made me collect Pokemon a little bit too much. And I'll be like, I don't care. Oh boy. But I think there's probably like a sweet window of time. I'm going to guess between like 7 and 12 or whatever, where he'll probably be really big into Pokemon. And then I feel like that 7 to 12 year timeline will be a lot of fun, just opening packs and really enjoying like Pokemon together. And I look forward to that. And then when he gets older and stuff, I don't know if he sticks around with it. I do think Pokemon has grown as a hobby, at least for me it's grown. Like where Pokemon is still cool when you get older. That might not really be true again because I live in this world of YouTube and you guys and talking about this stuff and surrounded with myself with people that love this. But I do feel Pokemon is way more socially accepted today than it definitely was when I was in high school. Like I didn't know anybody, ripping open Pokemon packs and, when I was in high school. So, but I feel like that's a lot of people's stories, especially for our age demographic. A lot of people grew out of Pokemon and then rediscovered it. And one of the reasons, they got out of Pokemon was they grew out of it. Out of 99, they went to middle school. They started chasing after girls, feeling miserably at it. Started playing sports and went to high school and worried about stuff like that. Then went to college until eventually like some catalyst in your life brought you back into Pokemon. Whatever that catalyst may be. For a lot of people, that catalyst was the pandemic. For me, it was working in the oil fields, living at a man camp, being by myself, like as soon as I got home from work till I went back to work the next day and just, rediscovering eBay and stuff like this. Like everybody has their own little catalyst of why they rediscovered Pokemon. But I do believe it's more socially acceptable where maybe we won't have like that many people coming and going. That might definitely be one of the more wishful thinking type sentences I could possibly say if that's truly possible or not. But I think could be a shred of truth to that. Maybe not on a crazy scale, but there could be a small inkling of that, definitely. All right. Jump to the bottom, but that's it. Man, try to do short lives. I can't do short lives. I'm an hour and 30 minutes into this. But hey, guys, listen. Sorry I haven't been on lately. Again, been in the hospital. My wife had our second kid. So I am back. I'm on maternity leave. I'm going to do some pre-recorded videos. I'm going to be doing some early midday lives. Now I know we're going to get Pokemon Classics on for a chat. Matt's always a great time, man. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have fun the next couple days making a couple videos. But yeah, guys, appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, do what number one mod in the game, Drew, said. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Listen, if you guys could do me a favor, hit the like button. I don't ask for anything. All I ever ask is hit that like button. And if you're new to this channel, I will ask you to subscribe. Especially if you made it to the end of an hour and 30 minute long live and you're not subscribed to this channel. That is a crazy thought. You should probably hit that subscribe button. But yeah, guys, appreciate every single one of you. If it wasn't for you guys, I would not be making these videos. And as always, I'll catch you on the next video.